be here with Doug and Karen. This is really absolutely amazing. I can't wait to introduce them. Karen, Doug.
Hi.
So this is such a thrill because these two are newlyweds, right? Karen,
Yes.
how long has it been? How long since
We
you
got married February 20th, March, April. Yeah, so 2.5 months. So it's
2.5 months?
all
And, and you both did this during COVID.
I know.
Yeah.
It was funny because we had a lot of discussions back and forth about whether we would see each other in person or not.
Mhm.
I'm an ER nurse, so it was sort of like, but he was like, we're good. We're going to do it. So we did. And we were very lucky that nothing happened and we were protected. Well, we were smart. We were careful.
Well, our church had everything lined up. It was a whole 500 people. We had 100. Everybody was spaced out. So it was, we just couldn't have a reception, but we had the wedding.
Yeah.
But imagine when you look back in time that you're going to talk about your wedding and you're going to say, we had a COVID wedding.
Never even think about it, be honest with you.
Right?
Well, it's funny because it's the people that we really care about that came.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that we don't care about everybody, but, you don't know 200 people like 100 people. And, so we were very blessed that the people that came were all special.
Yeah.
So that made it really nice.
Mm-hmm.
This beautiful couple who agreed to come on today, Karen, I want to start with you because you were the one who, you worked with me as a client. And how long ago was that now?
I think I started in the end of, in fall of, we got married after a year. We got married in February. So it was a year, 9 months before that.
Two years ago.
Yeah, it was in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Midsummer to fall, I was doing it. I could probably look back at my book and find out the dates, but yeah, because I wrote down everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kept a track of everything.
Karen, where were you when you found me 2 years ago? What was going on in your love life? Tell everybody.
So, as I had told Lisa, and I was really very intimidated. I had been single for 16 years at the time. Had gone through a rough divorce and raised my daughters. I had 4 daughters, so it was working. It was pretty hard. And I had told Lisa about 10 years ago I had tried to date for a while online and got really hurt. I dated 4 or 5 guys, got really hurt, and then I just said, "Oh, forget it. I just couldn't deal." I just was like, "That's just not for me," kind of thing. And then I saw it on Facebook, and my girls was saying, "Oh, Mom, you need to meet somebody." Oh, Mom, and I really started thinking about it. I was like, "Well, that'd be really nice." I saw Lisa's thing on Facebook. I was looking at your thing, and I was like, and then I actually reached out to Lisa because I just was so intimidated by the dating scene, and I wanted to do it, but I just didn't have confidence. And I dated plenty in college and after college. I dated a lot, but at a different stage in my life, I just didn't feel, and I had met some scammers. I had some scammers, so that was another big no.
Yeah, you met some actual scammers.
Well, I had multiple ones. There were multiple ones on the different dating sites.
And what happened? Did you get pulled in by some of them, Karen?
Not too much. I think I was, I think I really had, spidey sense as far as, some of them, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, in some war-torn area, And then one of them was like, I work at the oil refinery in the middle of the oil, platform in the middle of the ocean and this, that, and the other. And then he was like, "Well, I'm traveling." And then I remember the one thing he said was just that, the company I'm working for, they haven't sent me my allowance stuff. So I didn't have enough money for dinner. And I'm like, okay, so they've sent you, to Europe. Okay. So like that.
So you were so you picked up on it quickly, but it was just
pretty much. Yeah, there were. And I don't know if I know the younger girls probably have issues, and I think the older women have issues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're just thinking that you have money. I don't know what they think, but I guess they think, or they think you're naive. So I think maybe the younger girls might have different, like different problems, which
Right.
is something that, really, you need to really be careful of, obviously, so you don't get hurt. And, like you're not going to give anybody money and those kind of things, but still emotionally, you could get hurt.
Yeah.
So, but
you were out there and it sucked. I mean, it just, how long did you actually date, like try to do it on your own?
Not too long. I think I was, when I met you, I was just starting. I think I had gotten on Match, and I wasn't crazy, or Bumble, I think. And I wasn't crazy about that at all. You just didn't have enough information at all. I didn't feel like to go to really know anybody at all. Like you didn't have any foundation at all to look at.
But Karen, how long were you out there, before, like, trying online dating? Did you do it for a couple of months? How long a period?
Well, like 10 years ago, I'd probably done it for 6 months.
And then quit.
Just stopped altogether. And then, I just kept thinking, well, God's going to put somebody in my lap. God's going to just bring somebody right in front of me, and that's going to be it. And
good old God.
He chose not to do that. That was. When they give you the tools, you're going to have to go do it another way. But, yeah. And then I don't know. I think I just really started dating about the same time I met you, very early. I don't think I maybe was just on Bumble or something, but not much, so I think I was still pretty wet feet.
Yeah. But literally 10 years had gone by.
Yeah.
Had you been able to do this work 10 years earlier, right? If you had had that support and you had actually been able to get through it, you wouldn't have maybe lost 10 years, right?
Yeah, as far as that, yes. I think it was God's perfect timing, but I definitely did miss out on this man, but it wouldn't have worked. So I just have to just say, I guess it was God's timing. But I
get that. But the point is, like, you could have solved it 10 years earlier if you had known what if you had had the right support. Absolutely. And that's what so many people do. They get to that point, right, and of frustration. And maybe it's little things, because the truth is, once you did the course, everything changed, right? You got your profile, your pictures, you started getting better, attention from better, high quality men.
And I think, Lisa, so much of your course for me was finding out about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Finding out, really taking the time to do a self-evaluation, like what is important to me, what isn't important to me, what I can live with and what I won't live with. I mean, that was like, once we did those exercises, it was a very clear distinction. It was like, oh no, I'd rather be single than have this. But I'm so glad I'm not. But, and then also and then reading all the things about just how men and women are different, and just how I educated myself, I was much more aware.
Mm-hmm.
I had never even didn't know that stuff was out there. I just didn't.
Yeah.
But it's a very good exercise for me.
Oh, I'm so glad. And Karen, it's also shocking that there's so much that we don't know, right? That would make our relationships so much better. Right. And if we just had those right pieces of the puzzle, and we're out there kind of just, I don't know, throwing mud at the wall, or
the things like you think, they should teach kids finances in high school. Well, they don't teach us this either.
Right.
It's like, if you were like, my son-in-law's Indian, and they have they have matchmakers, or they have different, cultures that have matchmakers or something like that. But I mean, as far as in America, especially, there's no train. There's, it's just use as many people as you can and throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, without any real focus or plan or, a guide, some kind of guide. I think you just don't have any of that.
Well, we don't even, sometimes it just, we're out there and it's not happening. It's not working. And we don't even sit there and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe I need to learn something, or maybe there's there's a course or something, because
it's more than karma. It's more than just,
yeah.
There's actually, and I think so much, of course, then also is working on the profile and working on my profile and then reading profiles and really knowing when I read a profile, like, no, right away. It's just so easy. It's not, you will give people a chance that maybe don't fit perfectly just because you don't want to rule out something. But then again, you really get a good sense very early on of what you want and what you don't want.
And what to look for, how to spot men who are actually
educated shopper, sort of. You're educated. You're an educated consumer. I don't want to say it that way, but you know what I mean. You become educated about it.
Totally. Like, people are out there picking partners, and there's some very practical, reasonable stuff, right? That if they just knew these things, they would choose much more wisely. And
they see the red flags, but they're like, oh, that's, we'll work. No, they're not going to change. You're not going to work through it. You can't expect them to change. You're not going to, and it's like, I think a lot of people think they're going to change the other person, or that they don't, they see the red flags. The red flags are all over the place waving around, but they're just like, what? I don't know. I just, when you start recognizing the red flags and say, oh no, I'm out. I don't. And I think one thing you had talked about, is the time. And I said this to one of my daughters, actually, who's dating and out there. And I said, she's with somebody right now that I'm not crazy about. That's her choice. But I just said, so how long are you going to be with this man? How many years of your life are you going to give him before you decide that he's not what you want?
Wow.
And, and that was something that you said. A lot of those girls on the calls, they've been in relationships for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years with a better than nothing. And I told Eileen, I said, a better than nothing. He's better than nothing. Is that worth your time and your heart?
Yeah.
And that was really a very, like, wow, that was better than nothing is not what you want.
Right.
To invest your life with. And I think, like you also said, was when you're with a better than nothing, you're not out there seeing Mr. Right, because you're in this, people just hurt, it's sad.
There's a way to get to Mr. Right, Doug, over there, because those guys really are out there.
Yeah.
And the saddest thing, the heartbreak, I mean, I know, Karen, you're such a fine woman. I mean, I just have so much respect for you. I tell you this every time I think I talk to you. I just love your energy. Like, when you're talking and you're sharing, and you just, anyway, they're out there, these great guys. They really are. And we have to be great women in order to find them. We also have to have the clarity and the wisdom, and not be playing the love lottery or, shooting arrows in the dark,
Nice guys that still aren't for me. And that's fine. I mean, I know there's wonderful guys that doesn't mean it's for you. And you won't be happy. He's not
your criteria. I'm so sorry. What did you say?
For somebody else, make them happy, but maybe not you. Even though he seems like a really nice guy, he might be. But if he's not yours, then you don't want him.
So it's also having the right criteria to find the right guy for you, right?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned a minute ago profiles and what a difference that made, and also reading profiles.
Yeah.
Being able to read a profile and, and see who the person was. So you're
much more discerning. You have much more discernment. You're reading it not to be critical, but to be discerning. And, you're really reading it differently. And you're, trying to see what's between the lines. And you're getting a better idea, I think, of what really is going on.
So I want to ask Doug, I'm going to bring him in here, and I want to ask him, Doug, tell me about how you felt, or, just share what it was like when you read Karen's profile.
The profile was probably the deciding factor. I mean, we've been speaking about this. I, found her on Silver Singles, I had used common sense and went through every profile on there, but she's the only one that I called.
The only one. Yeah.
The only one.
Ladies, you don't think a profile matters?
It was huge.
To this.
Yeah.
Because great men know what they want. Quality men are looking, right, Doug, for quality women. So
right. And she was checking off the right boxes, but it was very well done. And she's the only one I called. So, here we are.
Here you are. But
yeah.
What stood out to you? What was your overall impression when you read that profile, and what compelled you to call her?
She put her Christian faith first. That was the number one thing for me, that she put it first, because that was very important for me. Okay. And then we built upon that from there. And then we found out that we didn't have to build upon anything, because we actually were just getting along so well. But it was that, that door that opened up. And once we went through the door, then, we became so compatible, naturally compatible, not trying. Okay. It was just, easy for us to be together. And, so the profile was putting what she was first is what made it different for me.
And I remember I had, because for me, that was really important. And we were going through our top 5 and everything. Mm-hmm. That was really important. And I remember when Benjamin went ahead and redid my profile, he doctored it. He didn't doctor it. What's the word I'm trying? He just changed the flow of it. And he said, you have the fact that you would like a Christian husband. You want to be able to pray with him and talk with him and share the Lord, just all that. Like, that's all part of what I wanted. But I had that, like, in the 3rd paragraph. It's like, oh, here's me, da, 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 da. I like this and that and the other. And then the 3rd paragraph, he said, move it up to the front. Because if that's what really is the key values or the key things that you're looking for, make that number 1. And I remember you or Benjamin or both of you said, and I know there's a lot of nice guys out there, but like I said, they're not what I want. And it was like, if that's that important to you, put it right up front. Because one thing, if people aren't interested, they're not going to contact you. Then your list of all these, people narrows down to a much more manageable and more valuable. Where if you throw out all this stuff and you're sort of all over and you don't have your priorities, then that really changes. So that was, I think, probably, it was almost scary. It was almost scary to say, because I think, well, a lot of people are going to turn off, and that's fine. That's okay, because they'll be good for somebody else. But, but it was like, okay, well, it's important to me, Lord. So, so let's do it, and that,
so beautiful.
That was like the number one thing.
Wow, that took courage. And you followed Benjamin's advice, even though it felt risky, even though it felt...
Yeah, it feel a little, it was like, wow, I'm really putting it out there. This is how I feel, then, be honest. That's,
And Benjamin's theory is you'd rather turn off 99 people out of 100 and attract that one person who's a true match. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was I going to ask you, Doug? There was a question here. Tell me, because this is so important, and you really are just such a beautiful example of a Christian couple. I mean, this figure's so central to this relationship, right?
Well, when I first responded, through Silver Singles, we didn't really talk about Christianity. I just focused on myself. I gave her all my information. I think I gave you my cell number too.
That was funny because
I said, here, vet me out, check me out everywhere. Okay, this is who I am. This is, there's my address. There's my phone number.
Yeah, it wasn't one of these mythical men that, you're like, oh, I'm off in Timbuktu doing wonderful things. It's like, well, here's my business. This is my thing, though. I better business number where I live. I'm like, oh, it wasn't TMI. It was a good TMI. It's like, wow.
Right.
And a lot of these guys are, real, sort of cagey and not honest. And it's like, I wanted something that was honest.
And my business is not super rich. It's a decent earning, okay, but I'm not the owner of 100 stores throughout the United States. I have me, myself, and my truck. Okay.
And
I'm
I'm
a
fine
plumber.
with that.
All right. But as humble as that, I'm saying, here it is, check me out, and, go from there. So that was my approach.
Tell him about the truck. First
What?
time I got in his old Suburban.
Yeah. Well, the first time she got into the truck, she said it smelled like her dad's truck.
No,
Oh,
he says, I know I liked you because you didn't get upset because my car isn't
Yeah.
real fancy or anything. I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't care about that. I'm
yeah.
too old. I don't care about that stuff anymore. There was a time, I was impressed. Now it's like,
And we
I don't
started
care.
realizing we value time together and ourselves over material things.
Yeah.
Material things don't drive us. And that's another thing we found in common. Okay. We're not trying to beat anybody. We don't care
I need to.
what anybody has.
Older, wiser.
It's more like what we're happy with ourselves, and we enjoy the same things. As far as it could be, going on a trip or just, going, down to the local, beach or going out for.
We do a lot of nature walks and stuff. We have this
beautiful. You have a lot of shared interests, which is so important. And you're so aligned on so many things, which makes such a beautiful couple. What is your secret? I mean, you two truly get along. You said that earlier. What's your secret?
We stay ourselves.
And I think, to be honest with you,
we're not perfectly aligned. Okay.
Really? Aligned. Oh, maybe you better not say.
Now it gets real.
Well, you don't like radishes for one.
Oh, I don't like radishes and beets. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Even I put radishes.
Radish.
I put beets next to a salad today because I'm not putting them in the bowl. He can have the beets on the salad in his own bowl, but I'm not eating them.
And wait a minute, is that the most you two argue about?
Not much more serious than that. No.
We did.
That's right, Doug. I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, he'll back me up and be like, "Karen, that's not what I'm saying," or he'll calm me down a little bit or something like that. I think the neatest thing recently, Lisa, I just was so blessed. I had my knee's been really bad. I have to have my knee redone, which has been like getting progressively worse the whole year he's known me. He's watched it get worse, but it's okay. But I went to see the surgeon, and he's like, "Well, you're going to have it done." And I got all choked up. I'm like, "Oh, not again!" But then I called Doug on the way home from the doctor's visit because he couldn't go, and he's just like, "Honey, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah,
you don't have anything to worry about." And I just. It meant so much. It just was like, and I said something to my daughter who was with the last surgery. She said, "Well, I helped you last time." I'm like, this is way different, honey.
And how? She said, well, it is. And how is it different?
Because I have somebody I can depend on.
Well, it's also having somebody who's close to your heart in the sense that it's not your child. Your children and a spouse are two different things.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. I mean, I love them dearly. They love me. It's
being with your kids is great, but being with the spouse is even better. Okay, so kids are
somebody that cares, and I mean, the joke is we have a thing that we do everywhere we go to a restaurant or when I get up from watching the television or something else. I can hardly get out. Right now, the knee's so bad I can hardly get up, and he just stands there, holds out his hand. So he can just lift me up. And we have this thing like, "Oh, I'm almost ready." But we have a thing. And it's like, we do it in restaurant. It's like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And I hope that I hope we never have to, but I hope that I'll be there for him someday if he ever needs it.
Hopefully not.
Know. I wrap his foot, his ace wrap. I wrap his ankle.
Yeah, I have a sore ankle.
That's terrible to get old or older.
Here's the truth. Life doesn't have to turn out this way, right? It doesn't have to. And Karen, put you on the spot here for a moment. Part of your pattern was to do for everybody else except you. Yeah. You would put your needs second to everybody else's. In fact, when you signed up for my course,
after you strong arming me, she had my arm behind my back twisted. But
I did. But now you know why.
Well, all you moms out there, all you moms that are doing the mom thing, don't forget yourself, because I do think, and it's very interesting, even with, Doug or I at our age and everything, our kids watch us.
Mm-hmm.
Our girls are watching to see what he's going to say and what we're going to do and how we get along. And they watch because they're like, ooh, and I think they're very impressed. I think in the very beginning, they didn't know what to make of this because this new man's coming into my life and not taking over, but coming in alongside of me. And they were like, they weren't quite sure because it had been so long that it was just me.
Mm-hmm.
And initially they weren't like mad or anything, but they were just they were watching, they were reticent. And now it's just Doug's family, it's been a really cool thing, and
well, nice. The girls stop over and they talk about things in front of me that they normally would never have done before.
And he'll give them advice on stuff, and they listen. They listen.
So beautiful. That is so beautiful. Look at what you two.
To see that there's a male role. I mean, even though we're older and my girls are 21 and above, it's a male role model in my life now that is healthy, and they see a healthy male role model, which is a wonderful thing. Even at our age, they can see how we take care of each other and stuff, and it's
How does that feel for the two of you to know that you're impacting?
It's really different because we enjoy each other. We're being examples without knowing it. Mm-hmm. Okay, we don't intentionally be ourselves for our children. It's a positive result of us being.
No, but how happy does it make the two of you to know that you can have that kind of positive impact on 8 lives?
It's a good feeling. Sure, yes, it is.
There's 8 lives there, and their partners, and who and you can do this at any age.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's so healing.
I definitely agree. You're never too old.
Yeah.
Well, and as a parent, you want to be able to model this for your kids.
Yeah.
You want to do that.
Growing. Well, it's really fun. Well, this is my son-in-law's Indian. He just got here like 2 months ago, and there's no PDA in India.
Right.
He has never seen his parents kiss. Never. Hands in public. They don't. He has never seen, and they love each other dearly, and they raise 4 kids. They do not. That's a very cultural thing. So he's really getting a crash course. Because we hold hands, we kiss, we all that, it's fun. And I think he really likes it. I mean, I don't think he minds because I think he realizes it's genuine, but that's sort of fun to see. Like, we're not trying to we're not doing it on purpose. It's just how we are. So it's fun.
So Karen, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to imagine that you decided not to do this course. You took that refund. And I didn't hold your feet to the fire or your strong arm you or whatever, because I do that out of love, because I know that women are going to go away and not get this.
Well, I think, I think one of the little comments was, it's a used car. Basically the price of an old used car. Am I worth that? And I was like, yes, I am. And I hadn't really ever done a lot for myself as far as spending money on myself. I'm not a glamorous, high, fancy, I don't need a lot of stuff, materialistic person. So I hadn't really done a lot for myself.
She is not high maintenance.
Yeah. Anyway,
we need to talk, Karen.
But I really felt that this was an investment. For me, I really felt like when I really started praying about it and thinking about, I think, we talked about, and in the course, we talked about, that was the other thing. Imagine yourself 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out. And I have a lot of good girlfriends, and I have a lot of girls that I hang out with. They're all single, of course, most of them, because other girls are with their husbands. And when you were saying, imagine yourself in 15 years, so if I was 75 or something, I'm thinking to myself alone. And girlfriends are nice, but it's not the same. And that really got to me when I really started thinking about that. I'm thinking, I don't want to be that way. I want more. Like good friends are wonderful. It is not the same. And that really was a really big thing for me too.
How is your life different?
Oh, we just spend all our time.
We just spend a lot of time together, and being together, we get a lot done, because when you're by yourself, it's a struggle to just keep everyday things together with the house and what have you. But being together, because now we're combining forces, we get a lot done.
You got a partnership. You're knocking things out, knocking whatever it is out. You just get it done. Like, oh, let's go do that. And then we're going to do that. It's just really nice. Like we're working on the yard and mulch and this, that, and the other. And, it's like, it was so funny. I managed to do like with a little mantis, and I did a whole little garden for him because he hadn't had a chance because he's been working so much. So one day I was like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do it. I got this little garden done. He was so tickled. He's like, you did that for me? I said, yes, I did.
Well, work's been really busy for me lately.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see that finish.
He was like, but it really meant a lot. He was like so tickled because he just hadn't had a chance to get to it. And the little plants are dying because we hadn't planted them yet. But it was like, I felt really good to do that for him. I wanted to do that for him because he does stuff for me all the time.
And then we plan things. We're taking time off. Another 10 days we're going down Chickatee to spend time down there. And we plan to do that, to spend time for ourselves. Because that's important for me, is that we have time for ourselves. You can go all week, and then if you go all week and don't do that, you start getting distant. You have to have time for ourselves. So we usually we'll fit in there a couple hours somewhere, but this is going to be days, and that's where we kind of like rejuvenate the everything. But I won't get too much detail with that.
It's interesting. I was talking to Benjamin this morning, and I was talking about Bill and Melinda Gates divorcing. I thought that was really, they're getting divorced. And they're such an inspiration to so many people, right? And I said that felt so kind of sad to me. And Benjamin, said people grow apart. And I said to him, we're so lucky that we met at a time when we'd done our work and we were both seeking partnership. We were ready for it and we were seeking partnership. And Benjamin's answer to me was, he said, and we still are. My life is about you and your life is about.
That's it. Right. That's it. We don't stop enjoying each other because we're busy. We did make time to enjoy each other.
I think one of the things I meant to say earlier, Lisa, and I got off track, was that I think with the two of us, and I don't think it's just because of our ages and our past, what we've been through, but we appreciate each other so much. I appreciate this man, and he appreciates me, and we know what we have, and we want to guard that. We don't want anything to get in the middle of that. We want to guard this precious gift that we have. We don't want anything to mess that, because we both know how blessed we are. We know it. And I think that's one thing when people, when they have this wonderful relationship and they let it just slide away, it's like you had something, and everybody has to work. I mean, everybody has to do the work, and everybody has to, shut your mouth. And sometimes you have to just take the back seat. That's part of marriage. That's just part of give and take. And that's going to happen, and work through things. But I think with us, as we realize how blessed we are, we realize what a wonderful thing it was, and how our relationship is so special. And we don't want anything to mess that up or to get in the middle of it or anything to, so because that's such an important gift, we want to cherish it and nurture it,
Yeah. And not take it for granted.
Exactly.
No. And when I say time for ourselves, I mean, that's it. It's me and Karen. There's no kids. There's nobody.
Wow. That's
Okay.
wonderful. That's so wonderful.
I have some of my friends are like, oh, you should come to this dinner party thing with, the other women and that. And I'm like, and Doug would not say that I could not go. He would never be that. You can't go.
Well, you have gone, but
I have gone, but it's like, I would rather be home with him. I would much rather be home, even if we're just watching something or doing something or futzing around the house or doing dishes. I would rather be with him. And that's
amazing.
I mean, these people, it's just, I would rather be with him, and they don't quite get it.
No. And I want to know from both of you, how did doing this work on yourself, because you're a great woman, but this is unique. And the truth is, so many of the women, if you listen to them who have done my course and who have successfully found their partners, they find these extraordinary relationships like the two of you have, like I have with Benjamin. What was it about the work you did with me that gave you, that got you to this place? How did that factor into you being able to have a relationship like this?
I think it was because I knew what I wanted. And when I realized that Doug was that, and the important things to me, I mean, Lisa, one of your lessons, I looked back, was reading through some of the things I submitted to you, and I printed off everything and kept it. And I showed that to you.
It was identifying.
It was like really not freaky, but it was like, whoa, every single thing I had clicked off, he matched every box. And I knew it in a way, but when I read that checkoff list, I was like, it just really was like concrete. It was like, wow. And then, I realized, and what was your question?
It was identifying.
Yeah, it was really identifying
what you wanted.
Yeah, it really was.
But also a huge part of the course is us talking about what a guardian of your soul relationship looks like.
Right.
And, even just giving you the hope and being that, that pillar, that reminder that it's possible. That you can, reminding people that relationships don't have to be okay or even good, that they can, or great, they can be phenomenal. Two people can really meet and have almost an almost perfect, balance.
And everybody that meets us is like, oh, you guys are, I think they're sort of not taken back in a bad way, but taken like, wow, you guys really are, they just see it, people see it, like people at work, different people see it. They're like, they can tell.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you the question I asked you a little while ago, which is, where would you be right now if you hadn't done this?
Cutting the grass.
I'd be, limping in pain, trying to do stuff around the house myself, worried about who was going to take care of me and how I was going to get all this done. And just all the worry. I just think all the worry about getting everything done and how I'm going to do it and what my life is going to look like. And I probably would still be working. I was able to take early retirement, which I wouldn't have done if it wasn't. I wouldn't have been able to take early retirement if it wasn't for this. I got retired and got married the next day. That's pretty good.
I forgot about your retirement. You'd still be working.
Because I couldn't afford to be, I couldn't have afforded to just leave work. So that was like,
Karen, that's right. That would have been
Yeah, so I retired, I was 60, had just turned 62 when I retired. And, I would have had to work till I was 66 or 65. Yeah, so that was a wonderful, also blessing.
And it's not easy work you do.
No, we we're busy. Very COVID and everything else. I was very lucky to get out of that. Because we are. So see.
That's amazing. But you would be working, you would be worrying, you'd be stressing about what your life was going to look like. Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah,
look at the two of you. Yeah. And I'm going to just say, you look gorgeous. Like, I mean, love has a way of making us younger, like feeling loved and being in love.
Oh yeah.
Like, you want to talk about the best youth, the secret to youth is love.
Joy.
That's the secret.
It's joy. My nickname for him is my joy. He's my joy. That's my nickname because he brings me joy.
Yeah. Joy.
That's true. It radiates.
Yeah, it really does. It's so beautiful. But you beam. You glow, and you really do. You look. You're seriously younger. Like, I've been mesmerized looking at you through the whole since we got on the call. You really do look amazing, right, Doug? Doesn't she get prettier?
He has blinders. He has blinders. That's okay.
No, he doesn't.
Blinders. I see very well.
He sees what's in front of him.
Yeah. We keep things alive. Every morning I say, "Good morning, my love." So I am her joy.
Yeah. And Doug, other than, just that the her being Christian and all, but I know some of this is just who Karen is, because she is terrific. But I also am looking at, the work that we did. Like, what stood out to you about who she is, other than just being a great Christian woman, but who she is when she's with you, how she treats you, how she understands you as a man?
Well, yeah, the core of it came down to, we actually grew up in the same neighborhood, around the same people. We never met, but we were in the same places at different times, all around. And then she, was raised her daughters, okay, and working, and you could see that she was a very independent. So that was on my list of having an independent woman, okay, because I'm not the type that I need nor want somebody to praise me or what have you, okay. I want somebody who I live with, okay, and that I share love with, not somebody who's going to
use you,
be like a puppy, I love you, I love you, but
you want somebody independent, but then it's really nice when he does things for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And I do, and that just comes naturally. So it's, and she does things for me as well. But we don't ask each other to do whatever it is we're doing. I'll come up with things that I want to take care of, or I might surprise her, and she does the same thing. She'll say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," or surprise me. Okay, so we do things for each other, and it's not because we have to.
It was funny because I get, sometimes I'm like, I was single, like I said, for like almost 17 years, and raising kids and working, it's like, things around the house, like you look like, oh my gosh, I need to do this and that. And you look at all these things around your house that need love and work. And he'd be like, you raised 4 girls.
She did a good job.
And you took care of this house, and you took care of this yard. And he just, like, it's like, well, thanks. He sees that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He sees it. He values that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like,
Well, we're both survivors as well. We're not the ones to wear our heart in our sleeves. We're not the ones to complain. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then now that is even better, because now we get through it with each other instead of by yourself. And it's like, do you want to be on a boat through a storm by yourself, or you want to be with somebody, you
can count on, that you love?
Well, it's easier. You don't lose as much sleep. You don't feel as bad. You still have the same feelings of whatever you're going through. But when you're able to share it, it just makes it lighter.
Yeah. And Doug, what is it that's exceptional about Karen? Because she's
real. It's her heart. Okay. Her love for her daughters is, sometimes I tell them, I said, you don't realize how much your mother actually does love you. Okay. Because kids are kids. They take things for granted at times. Okay. And I think they're starting to see that now. How much she has done for them, raising them and sacrificing for them. Okay. And then now I'm part of that because she would do the same thing for me.
It's beautiful.
I would do the same thing for her. But I could see the genuineness. I could see her love, and I wanted that, and I got it.
And Karen, what's exceptional about Doug as a man for you? What stands out?
I think for me, just that he loves me so much. He is my rock. He's my rock already. It's like I trust him. I can depend on him. I mean, that's just such a wonderful thing in this day and age, to have somebody you can depend on and somebody that's your rock, and that you can, like you were saying, you don't worry about the storms because you're going to be together.
Yeah.
There's going to be storms. We all have storms and things and bad things that come along, but we'll be together. And we're in pretty much agreement with all the major things. And that's important about, what your value system is, because you do want to be in agreement with the person.
We have the same values. Yeah.
Really very closely aligned. So then that was very important, like going through the profiles. And you want to find somebody about your values line up. I don't want to be arguing with somebody over.
Right.
We don't agree on everything. We joke about things, but the majority of the things we are quite close on. Not everything, but but those are things that we can agree to disagree. The small things, but the major things we're aligned up. So, and I can trust him, and that's. Those things are just their core values.
May I ask you? Did you ever imagine that it could be this good?
No.
Well, it was funny because we've both been married before, obviously, and I think we both really feel like we hit the jackpot this time.
Oh yeah. When we first met, I remember thinking that maybe after a year or so, we'll maybe spending some time going away or something like that. Getting to know each other. But once that train started, it went like from 60 to 120 to 200 miles an hour. Within 3 months, we felt like we've known each other for years.
Yeah, we're so compatible. We
just covered so much time, and we're still uncovering things. To be honest with you, things that we didn't know about each other. But now we're doing a lot of just thoughts about, well, what do we want to do next with our lives, and we have options, and we have a future. And that's the other thing about being together, is we have a happy future.
Yeah,
something to look forward to. And
it's funny because we'll look about if we retired, if we did this. I am, but I mean, like in 3 or 4 years, when he's able to stop working and everything else, it's like, we could do we want to move here? Do you want to live there? Do you want to live here? And then he'll look at my house and go, we can add on here and do that and do this. But it's like, either we're both like, whatever, like we'll make it work, whatever it is, we'll make it work, whether we move and build a house or fix this one more and make it more compatible, to age in place kind of thing, but whatever we do, we're like, and it's so funny, whatever.
But when you think about how different it could have been, listen,
it's
like, could you imagine not having had someone to grow old with?
Well, I was used to making relationships work, and this is not like that. This is living a relationship.
Okay. Right.
So, that's, you know what I'm saying? We're not trying to make it work. We're living a relationship.
Yeah, you're just having a relationship. Just doing it.
Just doing it. That's all.
Yes, like
about how to do it.
I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never.
No, never imagined it.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. Like when you signed up, Karen, when you signed up for that course, a little over, 2 years, maybe 2 years ago, You had no idea. Look at the ROI. I mean, let's just talk about ROI for 1 second. Let's look at the return on your investment.
Return on investment.
I know, I stumped you.
No, yeah. It was well spent.
Right? Like, think about it. Like,
yeah, like I was worth a used car, let's just say. And yeah. And then I just think of, I had dated people before Doug, and there were some very nice ones. I'm not saying they weren't, but it just wasn't going anywhere. And I just was spinning my wheels. And, I don't think I would have stayed in it again. I think I would have done the same thing that I did 10 years ago. I don't think I would have stuck it out much longer.
Right. And
I don't think I would have just kept going on forever and ever and ever. I would have just forget it. It's just not meant to be. And I think if I didn't take the course, and I do really feel like that. I think that it made me a better consumer as far as just reading and learning about myself and reading profiles and trying to discern what I was reading and, pull out what was the underlying messages and things, and really, made a big difference. I've told quite a few of my girlfriends, I know quite a few women that are like, oh, I would really love to find somebody too. And I'm like, well, you can, you can. And, and I think the other thing too, is I was talking to somebody else, and, actually a friend of mine, and we were talking about, I said, when I really decided to go through with this, and I was praying about it too. It's, for me, and I've told Lisa this, is my, what do you call it? I would pray about things. That was my thing. That when I meditated and stuff, I would pray about
your soul.
Yeah.
Your naked dater.
Yeah. My naked dater was really, more prayer and stuff. And, it was so funny. If you know biblical stories, like about Ruth and the book of Ruth, how she ended up laying at Boaz's feet. He became her kinsman redeemer. I was like, well, that was my Ruth. So because I was like, what am I going to use? I was like, well, I'll do Ruth. Okay. It's a good story. It matches. But, what was I saying? But, what was that? What was the thing, Lisa? You just said, actually,
I don't remember where you would have been. We've been talking a bit about just how different your life would be.
Yeah, I think I would have just given up. I probably would have not gone.
Well, the return on investment.
Yeah, no, I probably would have just not. So by taking the things and really going through the course and really looking at things and being a much better, understander. And then also, like some of the girls that I was with are still looking, and I know that, and I value that, but they are much more aware and much more present in looking for people, and very aware that, like Minerva, I love different people that I love that I got to know. Some of the people are still looking, but you see that it's not tearing them up. They're being very conscious about it and being very proactive, and also realizing it, if it's not the right one, they're okay with that. And they don't, I think a lot of times as a woman, and I don't know so much as about a man, I say, when you are turned down by somebody or you are hurt by somebody, it just takes such a chunk out of you.
Yeah.
And with some of the stuff you're teaching, it's like, you can't take that personally. They may try to dump on you. That can happen, and they'll try to make you feel bad about yourself. But if you have your self-esteem and you know who you are and you know your value, you're not going to be hurt by people that may try to hurt you. So I think that was, you start to know your value. And I think that's something else that you teach. I know my value.
Yeah.
And that is very important, because I think women have been so beat up in relationships and breakups, and they with so many people, and they get in these relationships. It's like, well, why do you stay in that? I don't understand. For me, it was always like, well, I just won't be in one then, because I was pretty independent. Some women are more needy, and I'm not making fun of them. Everybody's different, but we just get hurt over and over and over again. And then at least you're wiser and you don't take it personally.
Right. So return on investment, you have a beautiful man to spend the rest of your life with, to grow old with, to help you get through your knee surgery with, right? You were able to retire. You were able to get married in front of 100 family and friends that adore you, and you're modeling for not just your children, but the world. Yeah. What a beautiful relationship.
I feel like it's well worth it. I definitely feel like even praise God, I did meet Doug, and he did bring us together, and those profiles did find each other. But I can't imagine, not having him. I'm very, very blessed, and I think that's so worth it. And like when you start to realize, your future and what you want your future to look like. This is what I wanted, without even really knowing.
And it all started with one phone call.
Well, I will say one thing, though. He wrote me that beautiful letter. He wrote me a really beautiful letter on silver singles. It was wonderful. He got off that profile in 2 weeks. He's like, I found you. And I was like, what? But the problem was that letter that he wrote me disappeared into cyber world. I wish I had that. I still wish I had that. So girls, if there's a letter like that, you get it. Don't let it get.
Don't let it kick.
Don't let it go in somewhere in outer space. I was like,
wow. Well, I am thrilled for both of you. This is your love just, it just radiates. You two are amazing. And it is so beautiful, to see the result of a single choice, coming on a phone call, clicking on a Facebook ad, or whatever you did, Karen, to find me.
It was. I had no idea. And I still know a lot of women are like, do they have dating coaches? I was like, yes, they do. I said, yes, they do. They don't have any idea. I mean, people my age, they don't know that. They don't know all that. And like I said, a lot of stuff I learned with you, I didn't know that. That wasn't in home ec,
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm just saying there's a lot that I had no idea. I mean, we all heard about the men are from Mars and women from Venus and that. I mean, that's one book we all heard about, but the rest of it, no, I didn't know all that. And I never invested in that. So there's a lot that's very good.
Well, and it's all just streamlined. I've proven it works because I've done it in my marriage. And then I've proven over and over and over again with women like you, right, that what the approach I used works. And it doesn't just get you a guy, it gets you a guy like Doug.
Yeah.
A lot of the women who are in the course find these wonderful men. So, but it started with a click on a Facebook ad, and it ended with a wedding and true love and a genuine happily ever after.
Joy.
You want to know the funny thing?
What?
Joy is my middle name.
I did not know this. Thank you, Lisa.